With me is George Jones, and he's an author of The 7 Layers of Integrity. What are some of the things that you teach people on?
We teach people, besides the basics of ethics using our model, we go into the impact that corporate culture can have on people's behavior. So people who would ordinarily not do something, but when they're immersed in an industry, in a company, in a department, or measured on things that push them to push the limits that they might not have tested before.
What would be in a training class? What are some of the topics that you will run through?
Well, one of the topics we look at is a risk analysis and risk mitigation technique, in which we examine the pressures that might be upon an individual to behave unethically, and we look at that from the perspective of our model. So we have 7 different ways to query, is there a pressure here that might lead you to behave in an unethical fashion. So you identify the risks, and then as with any risk management approach, you then look at what things can you do to decrease the likelihood that thing will occur. The 7 Layers of Integrity is a model basically that I constructed for teaching professional and business ethics to people who are managers or professionals such as an engineer or an attorney or a CPA. If you think about what's going on in Wall Street over the last several months, it's not just a problem with subprimes and CDOs. It's also a problem with culture in the industry and in many of the companies that have been in the news, where their professional personnel have not fully appreciated that they have a role as a fiduciary, as an objective advisor to their client, and as a professional in their industry. They essentially have a financial stewardship role, not only to their own clients, but in some of these very large organizations, to the nation as a whole, that they have totally shirked. Well, the book goes through our model and explains or provides 7 different perspectives on ethical behavior, starting out with the most basic that we think everybody should be able to agree with: is it legal? So a minimum standard for ethical behavior in business should be, is it legal? But then we go on from there and we talk through the perspective of contracts and agreements, where you and I have an agreement or an arrangement to do something, and the following through and making sure that that actually happens, and going forward and correcting situations when they don't. We look at professional standards. A lot of personnel that work in industry belong to a profession, and they have a professional code of ethics that they're also supposed to adhere to in their behavior and actions. So we look at what the typical types of standards are for professional codes of ethics. And then the other layers look at other types of expectations, expectations from within your own industry, expectations from the communities that you're involved with, interpersonal relationships on the job, and finally we look at spiritual and moral values.
One of the things that George has told numerous of us is that he has an online course, right, that people are taking. What type of audience normally take that class?
That online course is intended for people who are looking for a 2-hour continuing ed credit in the area of ethics as part of maintaining a professional license. The course basically takes our model, explains it, but then also ties it directly to the Code of Ethics for engineers. It's right now targeted towards engineering professionals. So every layer that I just talked through has examples that an engineer might encounter in their day-to-day work. And that's what we look at. And we tie it all back to the Professional Code of Ethics promulgated by the National Society of Professional Engineers. You can find our 2-hour online course at www.tspe.org. That's the Texas Society of Professional Engineers. You can find out more about our book and our offerings at www.change-makers.com or www.7layersofintegrity.com.
You know, one of the things that I've learned from our conversation here today, George, is that ethics is very important, and integrity is something that we should always try to keep whole. And I thank you for being here with us, and looking forward to hearing more from you.